congratulations, Tabreez, for Love Sonia.
I met a girl who was trafficked. She was rescued in Long Beach. And it was an Indian girl who basically was trafficked to the West. So that's what started all this. Initially, it was about research and getting the story to be true and finding out the various things that happen. And basically, what happened was I got involved with working with the NGOs, got involved in the cause, got involved in raids in India, doing work in Hong Kong, then back in LA with the activists more in rehabilitation. But through all these experiences, we met all these real girls. And through all those stories came the screenplay for Love Sonia. In India, yes, we fought the censor board. So after making the film, it took about a year because first they wanted about 110 cuts in the film. And after spending 12, 13 years making the film, there's no way we were going to accept those cuts. So we appealed, and actually, for me, the process was great. We stated our case, and we came away without any physical visual cuts. There were a few kind of muted words, swear words in India. But yes, that's because we fought the process. We got an A certificate without any cuts, and then it took a while to get money behind us to actually be able to release the film in India.
I met some girls I think I met 4 girls. 3 had kind of escaped the flesh trade altogether. One was still kind of not being able to get out of it because the pimp was threatening her with her life. I met them, I interviewed them, I tried to see what their life was like, what they would eat, what their daily schedule was like, what time they would wake up. So it's really like a flip to the world. They wake up around 4 p.m., oil their hair, have a bath, and then the customers start pouring in around 5, and then they go to sleep around 8 or 9 in the morning after some of them sent their kids to school and then went to sleep in the morning. So it was really an enlightening experience, and it was really disturbing for me that some girls, absolutely none of them were at fault in what happened to them, which was the most shocking thing for me because, ever since I did this film, I stopped using the word prostitute or as a slur because you meet a real prostitute, you see what they go through, you feel nothing but empathy for them, for what they have to put up with. And it never ends well. It's going to end in some kind of psychological trouble if you're lucky. Otherwise, you're addicted to drugs, you're addicted to all kinds of substances, or you could die of a sexually transmitted disease.
There's 2 things. One, there's money, and then there's stats in terms of how many people have actually been trafficked. And the problem is that no one is ever going to raise their hand and say I've been trafficked. So the stats reported in terms of millions of people are definitely lower than they actually are. But predominantly, the Global Slavery Index estimates that more than 54% of trafficking is in the Asia-Pacific region. But what's happening is now it's about trafficking in and trafficking out. And the minute you measure that, the number of girls and boys and men going outside of India, so it starts in Asia, but it's being trafficked out. And it's the Western world that's paying these crazy amounts for these
exotic virgins.
Yep.
Are these stories that were they this intense?
These are literally all the stories of the 4 women I met. Yeah, they're all real, and you have to understand how stuff happens in a developing economy. And for a while, like about 5 or 6 years ago, all the backup dancers in Bollywood films were coming from former Soviet Union countries like Yugoslavia and Georgia and these smaller countries where the economy was crumbling. These girls were coming into India and working as backup dancers, and some were being trafficked illegally, and you could never really tell. So I feel like it keeps changing, but what doesn't change is the demand for virgins, and I think that is a sickness we need to address.
I think you fight it on many levels. There's
Awareness.
The biggest thing is awareness, and part of awareness is education. Educating not only everyone about what's happening, obviously in third world countries as well, but it's educating the boys too, so that they know what's happening around them. also the young girls in terms of, show the movie as a warning, apart from as an education as to what could potentially happen. And we've had a lot of organizations who want to, and Richa and I actually want to translate the movie into different languages and go out into the interiors of countries to show the film.
Yeah. I think spiritually we need to understand that the obsession to sort of stamp your manhood on a virgin is some kind of sickness, and pedophilia is more widespread than we know. I think we need to address that. That is really key. I think till that changes, we can keep fighting it, but it'll take a long time.
Hopefully we will be educated by this film. I certainly was. And thank you very much for talking to me.
Thank you.